Hi class, I'd like to welcome you to beautiful Regina Victoria Park. Regina is located in the traditional lands of Treaty 4 territory, the territories of the Neowak, Anishinaabeg, Dakota, Lakota, Nakota, and the homeland of the Métis Michif Nations. We respect and honor the treaties that were made in all territories. We acknowledge the harms and mistakes of the past, and we are committed to move forward in partnership with Indigenous nations in the spirit of reconciliation and collaboration. I want you to pause this video now, look at this list, and see what is acceptable and unacceptable, and if you fit anywhere on this list. Based on a colonial perspective, I've categorized that list into years, century years. I want you to pause the video again and ponder this list. Things change over time. Ethics change, perspectives change, the past changes the future. Change is never easy, and it often comes with a price and a fight. That brings us to the statue of Sir John A. Macdonald today in Victoria Park. And do you think this statue is still acceptable? What is the purpose of a statue or a monument? I want you to think about this as we visit Sir John A. Macdonald in Victoria Park today. Is it for art? To remember history? To honor exceptional beings? Or to respect sacrifice and loss? Why would people want a statue removed? Is it offensive? What does it represent? This statue of Sir Macdonald may have been intended to show honor, but it also brings forward complications for his dishonorable actions. For he was involved and was responsible for, in many ways, unacceptable actions from a colonial perspective now. Unacceptable and even brutal. On a few occasions, this statue, as well as other statues of John A. Macdonald's era, have been vandalized. During a meeting with the mayor of Regina, an Indigenous woman named Carrie Bellegarde Upunacha had mentioned and discussed how Germany removed all their Nazi statues after they were defeated in World War II. In one instance of vandalism, Sir John A. Macdonald's hands were painted red. I want you to pause this video and think about what the red means. Let's review a brief history of John A. Macdonald. John A. Macdonald was from Scotland. I'd like you to stop right now, pause the video, look at this table, and compare the England versus Scotland Highlanders to colonials versus Canadian Indigenous. Notice any similarities? Let's take a sidestep second. We're going to compare the eagle and the emu, and they're going to have a foot race. Who do you think is going to win? If you said emu, you'd be right, but why? The emu is far more experienced in running than the eagle. Let's replace the eagle with Indigenous people and the eagle with John Macdonald's colonial government. Their government was far more experienced with making treaties, so of course they would come on top. Pause a moment. Reflecting on what we've talked about, I want you to think about the things we might be able to assume about John A. Macdonald so far. We can't talk about John A. Macdonald without discussing residential schools. These are part of his legacy. These are places of abuse and heartbreak. A Cree word for schools literally translates to the building that you go to learn to cry. The dreams and policies of John A. Macdonald's government helped build what Canada is today. However, were his methods honorable enough to deem a statue? So what do we do about it? I'd like you to pause the video again, think about acceptable and unacceptable behaviors that we've talked about today, and I'd like you to use it to answer these questions on this slide. And these are my references.